I am going to say something controversial. If you can learn to use your lats on bench press, you will put 5 to 10% on your press almost instantly. And I can already hear the comment section filling up with a bunch of people telling me I'm an idiot and screaming, "The lats are a pulling muscle, not a pushing muscle. They can't contribute to bench, Seth." Well, the people writing those comments, they don't understand how the lats work. And you can't fault them that much because the lats are a super misunderstood muscle group, especially when it comes to bench pressing. People are going to argue all day long about what the lats do, what they don't do, what they can do, what they can't do. And the people arguing about lat function are missing a few key pieces of biomechanics because the lats are a unique muscle that act on a unique joint. The shoulders, just like the hips, are a ball and socket joint. But unlike the hips, where the socket is directly connected to the axial skeleton, the shoulder socket on the shoulder blade is able to float and move around the rib cage, which means that shoulder motion ends up being a combination of where the rib cage is in space, where the shoulder blade is on top of the shoulder socket, and then where the humerus, the upper arm bone, is within that shoulder socket itself. Now, the lats, they span over top of the rib cage. They run over the scapulothoracic joint, the joint between the shoulder blade and the rib cage. They also cross the glenohumeral joint, the joint between the humerus, the upper arm bone, and the shoulder blade. And because the lats cross over all three of those joints, the lats are going to have some degree of influence on all three aspects of shoulder motion. But because the lats don't directly connect to the ribcage and they only connect to the shoulder blades of some people, at those joints, they won't be the main mover. That doesn't mean that they aren't going to contribute. It just means that there's going to be other muscles that do contribute more. And that brings us to the most obvious way that lats are going to help your bench press, locking in the shoulder blade and ribcage position throughout the movement. And yeah, the lats aren't going to directly depress the scaps. We have low traps and serratus for that. The lats aren't going to directly create thoracic extension. We have the thoracic erectors for that. But remember, the lats cross over the shoulder blades and they cross over the rib cage. So when we already have created scapular depression and we already have created thoracic extension, if those lats get shorter, they're going to help us hold the scaps and rib cage where they belong during the bench. So if you're flattening out or if you're shrugging up as you lower the bar, learning to squeeze the lats through the eccentric can help you stop dumping. Time to cue someone chiming in about how squeezing the lats on the eccentric is going to make the bench harder because the lats oppose the pecs. But the thing is, we aren't trying to row maximally, we're only pulling hard enough to create enough tension to help us to hold position. We're thinking less about trying to pull the bar to our chest and more about trying to pull our chest up towards the bar. And then when we get to the bottom end, we realize that the lats, they don't oppose the pecs as directly as one might think. Because training the lats, we know them as a rower or a pull downer. And yes, the lats do heavily contribute in those roles, but that doesn't encapsulate the lat's entire function. Because if we're looking to define the lat's role, the best thing we can say is that the lats are a shoulder adductor. That is, they pull the humerus towards our midline. If the arm is out here, it's going to pull it towards midline. Arms up here, pulling it towards midline. And if the arm is back here, the lat is still going to pull that arm towards your midline. And that right there is where something really cool happens on bench because for the lat to go behind the rib cage, some degree of lengthening will need to occur. And if the lat is behind the rib cage in the bottom of the bench, the lat will lengthen to get there. So when the lat shortens, the lat is going to help push the bar up through the very beginning stages of the press. And no, that doesn't mean that the lat is going to contribute more than the pecs. The pecs are still very important, but the lat can play at least enough role to make a difference in your strength out of the bottom. So, how are we going to teach ourselves to use the lats during bench? First thing we're going to do is set up a straight arm pull down. Once we're on the bar, we're going to set the scaps into depression and then contract the lats really freaking hard as we pull that bar. If you aren't getting a good lat feel here, either check your scap depression or pull weight off the stack because odds are you're going too heavy. Once you get that feel, bang out a set of 15 to 20 reps to ingrain the sensation. Because the next thing we're going to do is head over to a bench to set up for a spoto press. But instead of just going right to unracking the bar, we are going to pull the bar into the lip of the J hook, creating the exact same tension that we just did on the straight arm pull down. From there, we're going to flex the triceps to pop the bar over the hooks. Then we're going to finish the pull out with the lats, creating as much tension as possible. At that point, you should feel stacked on top of the lats and triceps. All you got to do from there is lower the bar, working to maintain that tension. About an inch or so off the chest, you're going to feel that tension build as the lats start to bind up and actually stop the bar from going down any further. Then all you got to do is press off of that tension, and that's it. You just learned to use your lats to stop a bar in the bottom of a bench. Getting it to translate to a full range press is going to be as easy as finding that tension and then continuing to pull your chest towards the bar until you get the touch. The press is going to be almost automatic because of all that tension, and you'll know that you're getting it right because your bottom end will feel stronger than ever. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you got something out of this video, share it with a friend. And if you made it this far, drop a comment below. Peace out. Have a good rest of your day.